like and subscribe, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. The ocean depths remain one of the most unexplored places on the planet. That's why, in this video, you'll see the ancient sculptures underwater in Mexico, the 13,000-year-old human skull also in Mexico, and lastly, the statue of Jason Voorhees discovered in Minnesota, the Ice Finger of Death. This underwater discovery has been dubbed the Ice Finger of Death for many reasons. The reality is that brinicles, as it's famously known, have a fascinating story. They're discovered in the 1960s and formed when sea ice cracks leak out of saline water. Because this water is denser than the surrounding area, it sinks to the ocean floor and freezes the fresh water that comes in contact with it. When the brinicle reaches the seafloor, it grabs any creature it comes into contact with, hence its nickname. Scientists say this phenomenon fosters conditions that could sustain life on other moons and planets. Elongated skulls in Mexican Sinkhole. Sacuya is a cenote in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Locals fear the area for unknown reasons. This prompted scientists to take a trip to the cenote to uncover the reason behind its fearsome reputation. An underwater survey done in 2 chambers discovered human bones and deformed skulls littered on the floor. National Geographic explains the skulls were most likely used for human sacrifice. The shape of the skulls and the flattened cranium shows that the deformation was intentional, as it was the tradition of the ancient Mayans. This is probably the reason locals have bad feelings about the place to this day. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. This finding looks like the Millennium Falcon all the way from Star Wars. When it was uploaded on the internet, users went berserk and claimed that it was a UFO sighting. We still don't know what the Baltic Sea Anomaly stands for as I speak. It was discovered in 2012, and while scientists from Stockholm University carried out an analysis of samples and concluded it was a glacial deposit, most of us and even members of the team remained unconvinced. Silfra Crack. Have you ever dreamed of diving into the crack between the North American and Eurasian continents? If yes, you're not alone. You can make your dreams come true at the Silfra Crack in Iceland's Thingvellir National Park. The fissures were formed in the divergent tectonic boundary between the Eurasian and North American plates, which drifts about 2 centimeters apart yearly. The water in the rift is one of the clearest in the world. Therefore, it remains one of Iceland's most popular natural attractions. Stonehenge in Lake Michigan. Of all the mysteries in Lake Michigan, the aquatic Stonehenge isn't the first thing that comes to mind. You wouldn't even expect it to be a thing. In 2007, Mark Harley, a professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern Michigan College, discovered a series of strange stones 40 feet below the lake's surface. Shockingly, it was arranged in a circle. What is more exciting is that one stone was engraved with the image of a mastodon, an elephant-like animal that went extinct about 10,000 years ago. Since there's been limited excavation on the site, Stonehenge remains a mystery. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is one of the most mysterious underwater finds on our planet. It's the deepest part of the Earth's ocean. Researchers say it's 6.8 miles deep and 5 times longer than the Grand Canyon. It was discovered in 1875 using a weighted rope. However, the first descendant of the place happened in 1960. Since 1960, there have been 3 more visits to the site. One of the most famous visitors to the Mariana Trench is James Cameron. He reached the bottom in the submersible vessel called Deep Sea Challenger. We know little about this location because only a few people have dared to visit. It houses some of the most bizarre creatures on the planet. Ancient sculptures. Aside from the Moai statues, there are many other deep-sea sculptures uncovered by divers. We've seen lots of sculptures underneath the waters of Africa, South America, and Europe, but little is known about the one in Cancun, Mexico. The finding features a group of sculptures called Sculpture Park. It can be seen only when one plunges deep into the Caribbean Sea. Only deep-sea divers dare go that far to uncover some mysteries. You're eager to feed your eyes on over 500 statues dating back thousands of years. This is your best bet. 13,000-year-old human skull. When a ship capsizes, it's only natural for it to spill its contents into the sea. However, some things make their way to the ocean's bottom, and some of these stories don't add up. Deep-sea divers have encountered thousands of creepy things like the remnants of human bodies, bones, skeletons, and even human skulls. One of the most shocking findings was that of a 13,000-year-old skeleton of a girl found deep off the coast of Mexico in 2007. It is possible that the young lady was a victim of a shipwreck, sunken boat, or storm. She might have been thrown into the water deliberately. No one knows the truth about this skull. Egyptian tombstones. Deep-sea divers discovered an ancient Egyptian tombstone and other artifacts of the lost city off the coast between Egypt and Greece. It is believed to be part of an ancient city of Heraclean, which was lost under the sea many years ago. About 1,200 years later, scientists found it once more. The city dates back to 6th century BC, but it was later overtaken by water that submerged it for centuries. Divers could claim the stones and other ancient artifacts they found. Today, these findings are kept in museums across the Mediterranean. Pirate ships. These days, it's common to find sunken parts of ships at the bottom of the ocean. We also have instances where boats and cargo ships suffer the same fate. However, a pirate ship at the bottom of the sea is quite an intriguing find. One of the shipwrecks in question was uncovered in 2015, and it dates back to the 18th century. It is worth about $17 billion today. The wreckage found underwater includes gold 18th century. Military tanks. It is common to find military tanks in the deepest parts of the ocean. This is thanks to the wars fought many centuries ago. Most of these tanks were bombarded with arms, but met their Waterloo in the middle of the sea. These tanks have been under the water for over 100 years, with their war machine parts still intact. Another famous explanation for finds like this is that most of them fell off cargo ships during transport, while others deliberately found their way there. Regardless of the reason for being there, we can't help but appreciate nature for preserving history. Those of us who thought that certain fictional characters have no place with reality would probably rub their heads in confusion after seeing this. Jason Voorhees statue. Regardless of how the name Jason Voorhees may have scared the kids, they took solace because they knew he wasn't real. What if I told you that your fear was valid? Well, a scuba diver in Minnesota found what he believed to be Jason's statue at the bottom of a mine pit. They placed the statue 120 feet at the bottom of the water. This nightmarish fictional character created by Doug Klein has been on that spot for many years. As a result, it is experiencing wear and tear that makes it even spookier. Although we know Jason isn't alive, the sight of his statue reminds you of the times you almost went nuts when you heard that sound. Titanic. Who hasn't seen the movie named after the Titanic? Even if you haven't, you must have read a thing or two about the vessel. This is how much influence a single ship had on the planet. It remains one of the most famous ships to date. Unfortunately, it did not live to fulfill its days. waters as it spent most of its time submerged. The sad incident occurred in 1912 on the Atlantic Ocean. The remains of the ship is now home to metal-eating bacteria existing in the deepest parts of the Atlantic. Well, there's some good news. For all of us that loved and supported the Titanic project, Titanic 2 will sell soon. The manufacturers are hoping it will outlive its predecessor.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Sunken Submarine. While it is shocking to hear that a submarine sank, it is possible. It happens, but you don't get to hear about it often. Sea divers have found many submarines used by the government. One of the most famous ones is Nazi Germany's most high-tech submarine. Divers found it in waters near Denmark. That's not all. One of Australia's World War I submarines was also discovered off the coast of Papua New Guinea over 10 decades after it sank. Although members of the submarine were believed to have died in the mishap, the discovery remains a feat for the deep divers of the sea that found it. Thank you for staying with me to the end. See you in the next episode.